Yeah. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Sweep you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Sweep you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. Yeah, get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, bet you this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling, welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, and this art he's king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping this track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back. Yeah, back.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump. I'm your host, Kyle, aka the hardest part of the ring. And, well, whether you're listening to this in your car, while mowing the lawn, on a plane, wherever you are while you're listening to this, you better have a home camera because I'm in your house. So, getting on with the show, WWF In Your House 1. I guess just In Your House, not really In Your House 1, because it's the first one. First one. I just said not to, fuck me in my ass. But yes, the first ever In Your House pay-per-view that WWF has ever put on. They would have several of these to kind of add on to their traditional tentpole pay-per-views, the big four. So you got Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, and of course WrestleMania. Along with King of the Ring as well. So thus far in this timeline, I haven't really covered that many shows in all honesty, just because they're so rare. But now we're really getting into the new generation. It's going to be a lot more frequent from this point on with these more frequent, shorter pay-per-views that happen more often. So, and it's kind of a precursor to what would be the WWF/WWE in later years, arguably too many pay-per-views. But yes, we are fresh off that dumpster fire of a pay-per-view called Wrestlemania 11. Jesus, tap dancing Christ, that was a god-awful show. Go check it out in the archives, apronbump.com. for all my episodes. But no, that is actually one of my favorite episodes I've done so far. WrestleMania 11. Did it, I don't know, sometime in July or not July. What fucking month are we in? September? August, I think. I don't know. You figure it out. Search it at apronbump.com. You can search for WrestleMania 11 if you want, but you can also go to the episodes tab. You can click on New Generation, and that'll bring you to all of these 1994, 1995 WWF, all of the magic that occurred in the mid-90s of WWF. Oof. Big oofs all around. But I say, you know, how terrible WrestleMania 11 was. But honestly, In Your House 1 was a damn good show, if I do me. Got some new stars. We got 2 Bret Hart matches. It's headlined by Diesel versus Sid. I unbuttoned my shirt throughout the episode, and we're giving away a house on this card, huh? Tell him, Todd. Tell him, Sarah. What the fuck's her name? Stephanie Wiand. Tell him, Stephanie. There is so much goddamn time on this show dedicated to nonsense, to non-wrestling nonsense. And we sure do get into that in the episode. So In Your House 1 is a great show, has some good wrestling on it, but also has some, some miscellaneous bullshit as well. But speaking of miscellaneous bullshit, my guest on this show, Kenny from A Kenny for Your Thoughts podcast, returning to the show. Not a fan favorite. Actually, I get a lot of DMs telling me to not have him on this show. But I do anyways because he pays me with sexual favors. But anyways, go check A Kenny for Your Thoughts, very entertaining podcast, a weekly live show. You can catch it on YouTube or Napster or wherever the fuck else he puts it. You can listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts, the audio version. I was actually just a guest on A Kenny for Your Thoughts. He was lovely enough to bring me on his show this past weekend. And that episode would have been September 25th, 2021, going into September 26th. Really fun time with him. Go check out that episode if you have never checked it out before and you're like, I could tolerate this hardest part of the ring fellow. Let me try this show. But always a good time with Kenny. Like I said, go check out his show, A Kenny for Your Thoughts, on YouTube, and follow him on social media at AKFYT Wrestling. All that info in the description as always. And let's give away a house, folks. We're in your house. WWF In Your House 1 with myself and Kenny from A Kenny for Your Thoughts podcast. You can't just be hilarious before I hit record.
My AirPods are actually fucking up royally, so.
Test.
Hold on. Say those things you usually say in my ear.
You smell better when you're awake.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Wait, I think I fucked that up. Whatever. Is that better? Okay, so we got to start this episode off with some hilarious. So you guys mentioned the In Your House thing, right? You know, it's like a paper. You know, we're doing this from our house about In Your House, right?
Right.
I figure, you know, we're both wearing Hawaiian shirts. I could say like, what is this, bash at the beach or something?
I know. I feel like Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan right now. I just need freaking Brian Pillman to grab me by the neck. What the fuck are you doing?
Okay. We can arrange that, I guess.
I hope not.
All right, so yeah, we'll get those jokes off in the beginning, so it like jump starts the episode with the hilarity, right?
I sure hope so.
I'll say the bash at the beach thing, and you say the In Your House thing.
Are you scripting my promos right now? Because that feels wrong.
Yeah, but we'll edit it out. It's fine.
I'm more off the cuff, you know. If my contract's coming up, I might go to Smacking It Raw podcast, you know, because they allow more creative freedom than this shit, you know.
Well, this is where people aspire to be. Mick Foley actually said that, so I don't know if you heard that part of the video. That I think it might have been cut out in some the clips. Some people,
you know,
said,
I haven't actually. What's funny is like I haven't actually seen the video.
You know, I saw it once, and it was like so benign that it didn't really resonate with me. It was just like, hey, AEW is doing pretty good. Hey, WWE, you should probably do a little bit better. And everybody just busted a nut over it.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that's why I didn't watch it, because it was like, you know, it's nothing against Mick Foley. It's just like, I feel like everybody used it as like anti-WWE fuel. And I'm like, you know me, I'm not like, I love AEW. Like, I absolutely love AEW, but it's like, I don't like to hear the negative sides of either company. You know?
Yeah, it's just, it's exhausting at this point. It's like, we're like, 3 years into this, and people are still like caught up in their fandom.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say wrestlers aren't even that caught up in the
no,
war.
They don't care.
You know what I mean?
They're all friends.
Exactly. So it's like, it's just sad.
But, you know, some may say it's kind of similar to what it was like in 1995, you know, with WCW and WWF. WCW generally has a pay-per-view called Bash at the Beach. It's like, what are like a couple of guys like at the beach bashing.
Hey, whoa, what happened to my camera there? I got censored.
I thought you laughed. I was like, God damn.
I got censored because we were showing a little bit too much nipple movement there.
Right. Well, I plan on unbuttoning a button after every match.
Okay.
So
there we go. Here, I'll start there too, just so we're safer.
All right. I won't say anything, but we'll do it.
Right.
All right. So did you enjoy the show? You said it was a lot of fun, right?
I actually really enjoyed this one. you know, obviously I've done this show before, and you watch events back, but you just kind of have it on and you enjoy it. But like this one, I was like, man, this is a lot better than I remember it. Yeah, it was actually a really, really fun show with a lot of stuff that I didn't remember at all, which we'll get into obviously. But yeah, ultimately, I also forgot that like the first couple In Your Houses were like, built off the premise they were like cheaper than the normal pay-per-views. So they were like $19.95, but they were also like 2 hours only. So this this flew by, and in a good way.
Yeah, it was definitely built like WCW would have the Clash of Champions, which would be the TV version of their pay-per-views, and Todd Pettengill would he'd be like, well, you could buy this pay-per-view with the price of a popcorn at the movies. Todd Pettengill talks, right?
Jeez,
it's good shit, right?
A little known fact, I lived in New York for most of my life. Well, not I guess half of my life now, but he does, or at least he did WPLJ, the radio station that was pretty popular there. So like I grew up with Todd Pettengill because no matter where I turned, there was Todd Pettengill.
He had a show, it was like called Todd and
Scott and Todd in the morning.
Scott and Todd, that's what it was.
Yeah. And so literally, go to my mom's work or something, and that would be playing. So I knew him before he came to, WWF. So it was weird to see him there.
Yeah, because I used to listen to Opie and Anthony a lot, and they would bring that show up.
That makes sense
from time to time. So yeah,
you look like an Opie and Anthony kind of
guy. Is that a good thing?
You also look like Wheeler Yuta.
You've made that perfectly clear. I'm strong that you look more like Wheeler Yuta than I do.
I don't know. I think he's an attractive man, so I'm going to give it to you.
Oh no, you're more attractive. What are you talking about?
We can do this all day. More buttons.
Anyways, so I looked at the card before I watched the show.
Yeah,
and it listed the dark matches, which was very interesting to me because I'm just gonna list them off here because it was 4 dark matches. Bob Holly versus Jean-Pierre Lafitte. You have Bam Bam Bigelow versus Tatanka. What do you have to say about PCO?
No, I had something to say actually about who did he face? Sorry, my mind went blank there.
Thurman Plug.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. I was like, was he Bob Sparkplug Holly at the time?
Yes, he was. He was no longer Thurman at this point.
Yeah, Thurman Sparky Plug. Can we never speak of Thurman Sparky Butt Plug again? Because it might be the worst name in professional wrestling history.
That's a little crass for this podcast. I don't know about that. But so we have those 2 matches, and then we have Undertaker versus Kama.
Wait, that was a dark match?
This is what I'm saying. So we have those matches, and then Owen Hart versus British Bulldog, a King of the Ring qualifying match.
This is better than the show that this was better than the In Your House card.
I was literally going to ask you if they just had literally just the dark matches. I think that arguably would have made a better card.
Now I'm mad I paid the $19.95 at the time, because if you give me an extra hour, I'd have paid the $49 or whatever it was at the time to see those matches.
Dude, especially with like Undertaker Kama, that was like a whole storyline that kicked off at WrestleMania.
Right.
Where like Kama stole the urn and melted it down into a necklace or whatever. They have Bam Bam and Tatanka, which is a pretty hot feud going on because Bam Bam just split off from the $1 Million Corporation. Jean-Pierre Lafitte is newly debuted.
Stole Bret's jacket.
Oh, did he do that at this point?
No, I don't think at this point, but I'm just saying. Oh, yeah. Like that's how much that they had put into him, Right. Big things for him. He stole the Hitman's jacket.
Man, Bret just has he's just fighting everybody.
A lot going on at this pay-per-view for Bret Hart, actually. Yeah. And, but In Your House, I mean, like, okay, I can understand if those dark matches were like Coliseum home video exclusives or something like that. But like the fact that those were just dark matches with no payoff is kind of criminal.
Right.
Just hearing
I'm wondering if they did like air them somewhere, like on Superstars or what's the other one? Action Zone. Like they had like so many shows at this point.
Well, I was gonna say Shotgun, but that was '97. So
it's like that's not main event. That's probably not important. But yeah, but it's even more like confusing considering the fact that like Bret Hart's doing double duty. So it's like, why do we have 2 Bret Hart matches when we could just slot one of these matches in here?
Right.
They spend like 5 minutes raking the envelope. We'll get to that. But man, it's questionable. But yeah, overall, I agree. It was definitely an easy watch. But maybe that could be attributed to Doc Hendricks on commentary. He's just signed with the company. Yes, Michael P.S. Hayes, as you may know him as, along with Vince McMahon. And it's funny, they like made him cut his hair. He shaved into a mustache, changed his name because Vince hates the South, I guess.
I mean, I didn't even know, like, I don't know if it's naivety, but I didn't know it was Michael P.S. Hayes back then. Like, I was like, oh, Doc Hendricks, you know what I mean? He fit the bill. He seemed like he was 45 years old, you know, or 50 or whatever. You know, he seemed a lot older than he was. So, I mean.
Right. I think that was the mentality because, like, I guess, and maybe in most circles, people don't know who he is, especially if he's just in commentary. You don't see him that much. But it was worth him being on commentary just to hear him pronounce Hakushi over and over again.
He made a couple, like, little jabs that made me laugh. Like, he said something about, like, you know, what are you mad about, Vince? You don't make the rules. And I was like, haha.
But wait. Oh, man. But it's the opening match here. We got Hakushi along with Shinja versus Bret Hart.
I totally forgot about Shinja. So that was the most fun for me, was like, look at this bastard. I totally forgot they had like a manager for Hakushi. Because Hakushi was just so like ominous and like mysterious by himself. Shinja just got lost in my memories there.
What does Shinja mean? Do you know?
No idea. Did you search this up?
I did not. I should have. Is it like a quiet ninja?
Or it's just a Shinja? It's just someone who can't kick past the knee. Like a ninja who can't kick past the knee.
Shinja. That's fun. What else?
I got
nothing. At least 45 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, we'll just do this. We'll just do this for another.
That'll be the episode.
Shinja is a Zen master of the Serpent Clan, or this is something else? Maybe this is off of a show.
I think they just made up a name that sounded vaguely Japanese and kind of just threw it on them.
Well, it means believer, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Does he believe in kayfabe? But what's going on here?
I don't think so. So we have Japanese Mordecai out here.
Yes.
The modern day literally though, he's like the I guess the antithesis to the Undertaker. Like he's the light, but he's still like that ominous.
I thought he was like Raiden or something from Mortal Kombat.
I think it could be both.
Yeah. So he's bisexual.
Man, that's a whole layer they could have delved into. Maybe that's why Shinja's there. Gay lovers.
He believes.
Believes in bisexuals?
Why not?
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. So we have the modern day kamikaze out here. What do you think about that nickname, the modern day kamikaze? That's not a thing I just made up, by the way, everybody. That's what they called him.
No, it is. They definitely were pushing him strong. Hakushi definitely had they were looking to put him in the main event, and they were trying really hard. I don't know why it didn't click, but that nickname, the modern day kamikaze, is just. How do I say this as an Asian person? I feel like they were like, let's just throw it some names together, and kamikaze. Like kamikaze, modern day kamikaze is almost like a contradiction. Because isn't a kamikaze someone who's like willing to kill themselves for like what they believe in?
I guess. I mean, is it tied to like aircrafts, or is it literally just anybody that'll kill themselves?
But I guess modern day kamikaze, I don't know. Like it just sounds weird. A lot of thought
was put into it.
Yeah,
it's weird that even like in the 90s, you would think they'd be like, "Hey, isn't that kind of weird? Maybe we should not go that route." But
yeah,
it is what it is. But it's interesting. You said you don't know why it clicked. I listened to Bruce Pritchard talk about it, and apparently a big part of it was his size. But he didn't seem that small to me.
Like a small guy though. Like that was the last thing I thought of when I think of like why he doesn't work. I don't go like, oh, he wasn't believable because he's short.
Yeah, it could be that. It could be the language barrier. I mean, variety of things. But I'm the big fan of Hakushi. This is probably the first. I think this is the first Hakushi match I've ever seen. I don't think he lasted long.
Really?
In the WWF, right? I think it was only a few months, right?
When was when was this pay-per-view?
This was the summer of '95. I want to say it was May. It was the middle of May.
Oh, okay. So I guess yeah, this might have been my first exposure. I think my memory goes back to like him at SummerSlam. I remember his SummerSlam involvement, but like the In Your House stuff, I don't really remember as much.
Well, he's newly debuted, so I think
Okay.
this is his first pay-per-view match for sure.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And this is Bret's first of 2 matches tonight. Has a match against Jerry Lawler, and you know what? It's kind of silly, but I kind of like how Lawler played off of it. With how it ended, but yeah. So, but like I said, I really like the match. I think Hakushi, like,
He's solid.
watching a guy with this style, because nowadays, like, the stuff he's doing is kind of commonplace with like all the springboard headbutts and all the flying stuff, the spring, like jumping out of the ring and all that stuff. But in '95, that was crazy to see. Like, nobody was doing that.
Yeah,
not many people were doing that.
He was a threat to Bret Hart. Like, it was definitely like this guy's coming in, to completely show up Bret Hart and completely different style than what was going on. And maybe that's the problem. You had Shawn Michaels in there around the time with a similar style, but Hakushi definitely. I remember thinking like, yeah, it's funny to look back because I remember thinking at the time like, wow, his style is amazing. Like, that is some crazy Daredevil type stuff. But then you look at it now, and it's so commonplace, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing special, like, by today's standards, which is, hey, that's to credit the workers of today. They've upped the work rate,
Yeah. And I also should mention, so some of the backstory to this match, why this match is happening. So Jerry Lawler and Bret Hart have been feuding for a while. And there was one point where Lawler was accusing Hart of being racist towards Japanese people. I forget why. I think he won some award, but he didn't factor in the Japanese. Oh, it was just Lawler be bullshitting basically, but obviously. But I guess that's how Hakushi fit in here. I guess he's like kind of a paid assassin of some sorts to Lawler, something along those lines, which is
so many a common theme for him. Then he got his dentist to fight Bret Hart, and then
so much good stuff from Lawler here in the mid '90s. Really, this dude doesn't miss. But so yeah, like we said, Hakushi's busting out all of these like fancy strikes and flips and all that. But he's the heel here, and that's kind of illustrated with Shinja constantly getting involved. At one point, he trips up Bret Hart, and I don't know if this is just Bret being really good at selling or what it is, but he trips up Bret Hart as he hits the ropes, and Bret goes like head first into the mat. And then Bret Hart does like a suicide dive to the outside, attacks Shinja. But he tries to get back into the ring, but Shinja grabs his ankle, and this allows Hakushi to do a beautiful Asai moonsault to the outside. And I don't know if you noticed how like Bret took this, but I'm surprised he didn't break his leg with how hard Hakushi came on.
Bret, like, truly is like one of the best. He's not just kidding when he says he's the excellence of execution, because like you look back on some of this stuff and you go, at the time you knew Bret was good, but you look back and you go, man, Bret really put his body on the line, like, for a lot of these moves to just make them seem realistic and to really hone his craft. So I definitely noticed like little things that he did. Just so I know, was it this match where Earl Hebner had the spot, or was it the next one, before I say anything?
I think it was a later match.
Okay. I think so too, but I just wanted to make sure.
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah. Because I definitely noted that somewhere, and I don't think it's on this one. So, but yes, we will acknowledge it for sure.
We have to.
But in this match, Bret finally gets back into the ring. Hakushi goes for like a German suplex, but Bret counters into a victory roll for the win. Out of nowhere finish, but it looked really good. And like we said, this whole match was great.
It made Hakushi look like a threat, like where Bret just had to roll him up and kind of like get the win and get out of there. So definitely put him over. And I got to give credit to Bret at this time, because Bret put over a lot of people. He tried, at this time. Any few, I mean, the Jean-Pierre Lafitte stuff he's about to go into and all that, like, they definitely slotted Bret Hart into a weird spot here. And that's what I noticed about this pay-per-view, where it was like, he was kind of like, I don't want to say mid-card, but like he was almost like in charge of like bringing people up at this time.
Oh yeah, definitely. Not quite a gatekeeper, but kind of in that role.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, I never realized Bret had gone through that kind of stage in his career. Because like we seen Cena go through it where he kind of had the United States title run and other things. But I was like, I didn't realize, looking back, I guess I was so involved in my Bret Hart fandom that I didn't realize he'd kind of dropped in the card a little bit around this time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess they were all in on Diesel at this point, and they already had their match at Rumble. So kind of just letting that play out.
Exactly.
But after the match, Bret leaves the ring and he steps down from the mat and twists his knee.
And they miss it completely. The camera
yeah.
it was definitely a wide shot with somebody blocking the way. Trust me, I went back and watched it but the commentary was on point, and they were talking about like, Bret, what just happened? Bret twisted his knee. Oh, what does this mean for later? You know, they were definitely on it.
Which is like weird because like, couldn't Hakushi just have done something in the match to injure his knee? Like, why has it got to be this fluky, like, oh, I stepped wrong, kind of thing?
Like, there's a reason for that. We'll get into that.
I suppose.
Do you remember why?
I don't.
Oh, we'll talk. We'll talk.
You gotta get learn there. Learn me today.
You gonna learn today. Take off a button. There it is.
They
if you're not watching the video version, you're listening to the audio land, you are missing a lot of chest hair right now.
Oh man. Just one little tuft here. This is all the hair on my body. But speaking of hairless, we got Todd Pettengill backstage, and no, he actually has a lot of hair. He has quite the mullet. This Todd guy does.
Too much hair, actually. Probably should get a haircut. That hippie.
I would agree. They go backstage to the WWF Superstar line, where everybody's like taking call. Did you ever call this as a child?
I did in the summer of '98, and I got my ass kicked by my father for racking up a really, really bad bill. Not physically, but for racking up a really gnarly bill. And I learned the hard way. I was going to say that damn Superstar line. You see, kids, you don't understand. You got the internet just accessible now. Like back then, all we had was, I don't know, we didn't really have the internet. You know, that was very much a luxury. So like calling a hotline to find out the scoops was like a cool thing to do.
Yeah. Is that what you got? So it was basically like Dave Meltzer kind of news you would get through a phone call?
I don't.
Or is it like kayfabe kind of news?
It's a little bit more kayfabe, but it was like what they wanted you to know. Like, Ahmed Johnson spotted backstage and he might have a kidney injury. So it was like he legit had a kidney injury, but the way they were spinning it a little bit was a little kayfabed. So
it's kind of like Twitter almost, like how WWE will utilize their backstage kind of thing.
Just not as angry and doesn't have people commenting going WWF sucks.
Is that how you sounded?
That's how I sound
back then.
Currently,
that is. You're not wrong. But then after that, they cut to Stephanie Wiand, my guest apparently. That's his name, folks. That's his name.
I have. If you can't see it on the camera, I have Stephanie Wiand because I just did not. I know I've saw her sporadically, but like she just does not like. I don't have a recollection of her.
Right. I mean, she wasn't like bad enough to where it would like resonate in your mind.
I don't know about that.
Okay, well, that's
she was
why
pretty
you're
bad during that.
You don't like her or like talking about the armored truck carrying all the entries to the arena?
That was definitely like so cheesy. Like they were talking about like here's the cop cars with the armored truck coming with the stuff, and I'm like, wait, why didn't they say it was like earlier footage? Because the letters are already there.
Right. Can I tell you a thought that I had like for half a second when I saw this?
OJ?
No.
Because I thought OJ. I literally was thinking like the whole OJ chase from '94, and I was like, this. Yeah.
They already. When did they reference that? Was that no? That was Gold Dust and.
That was a year later. That's why I was like, was this supposed to be like the Ford Bronco? And look at the cops. Like I don't know.
But it's basically Stephanie Wiand's out there on the stage, and she points to the screen, and they show this armored truck, like you said, accompanied by police. She's like, man, imagine how heavy that truck is with all those entries in it. And my thought was like, wait, are the physical people in that truck?
Right.
I thought letters. Like people, but they're letters. It's paper, which is heavy. I mean, it's a lot of paper, I guess. But like, is that like facts that we need?
What weighs more, 1,000 pounds of gold or 1,000 pounds of feathers?
My penis. So Stephanie Wiand is out here. That's basically what it is. But like it is just like illustrating like so much time dedicated to this kind of
Yes.
shit when you could have like Owen
The
Hart
dark
versus
match,
British
yeah.
Bulldog or something.
Right, and or you could have Zelina Vega and stuff wrestle at the Madison Square Garden show, but it's neither here nor there.
She wasn't wrestling for the company then.
Okay, I think I'm talking about 2021. You're right.
Yeah, you're a silly goose. But speaking about silly geese, we have a couple of geese here in this next match. We have a 2-on-1 handicap match. Jeff Jarrett and the Roadie versus Razer Ramone.
Like, surely we could have done without this match. And
So,
and this coming from a huge Razer
yeah.
fan.
No, for sure. Or at least could have been shorter than it was.
Right.
But originally, it was supposed to be a tag team match. So it was supposed to be Jarrett and Roadie versus Razer and 1-2-3 Kid. But Kid broke his neck a couple weeks before the show, and like legitimately broke his neck.
Yeah.
I knew that he had broken his neck at one point, but I didn't realize it was this early.
I didn't know it was here too. Yeah, I didn't know it was here. I thought, but you know, they did have him call in. You know, obviously that's the technology at the time. You know, in '95. You know, so they had him call in and say a couple words, and it made me laugh because Bret had done this in a previous promo, and then Razer does it here. So I guess this show was on Mother's Day, and so they keep talking like Razer goes, and for Mama Ramone, I just want to say Happy Mother's Day. And like does all this crap, and Bret's always like, this is for my mother at home in Calgary, and it's like, wait, like Vince was definitely like, hammer in the mothers.
Oh,
you know? But hammer in the mother sounds kind of weird.
hey, he could have said that. He could have said.
He could. He's Vince. But
Yes,
so definitely a lot of emphasis on
Hammer in
Mother's
the
Day
mothers.
here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hammer in the mothers.
Hammered mothers, right. Alcoholic, right.
So I'm just gonna ignore that. So after the match is, there's not a lot to this match, but I just want to ask. So you see these guys. So you have Jarrett, Roadie, and Razer.
Right.
And Roadie is definitely positioned as like the schlubby kind of
bump guy.
sidekick. Yeah, exactly. But when you look at these three guys, in hindsight, I might argue that Roadie had the biggest impact on the company out of these three.
Yeah.
On this company, at least.
Yeah, I was thinking like, oh man, look at Road Dogg there. You know, it's funny. He, you know, he definitely went on to have arguably a better career in the WWF than the other two. You know, so that it's kind of crazy to kind of see him in that third man role. You know, and that's not taking anything away from Razer, because Razer would have been somebody, you know, had he been on the straight and narrow, I think, you know, but yeah, it's crazy to see in hindsight. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and if I was an older child at this point, like Razer Ramone definitely would have been my favorite, I think. He's just
so cool.
So cool, dude. But he gets his ass kicked for like 95% of this match. Out of nowhere, hits a Razor's Edge on a double J for the win.
Well, he had to play the kid's role. Like, really think about that. Like, obviously the match would have been the 1-2-3 Kid getting his ass beat down,
Right.
and then Razor coming in off the hot tag, and then like hitting the Razor's Edge and stuff. So he pretty much had to play both roles, where he was the baby getting beat down and then mounting the offense again. So how many guys could have done that? You know what I mean? Like, in terms of popularity, and not like, imagine the internet was around at this time. They're burying Razor.
Oh man.
And it was around, because I know somebody's out there saying, actually, there was AOL chat rooms at the time. I know, but we're talking about the current bitter internet that exists now.
Yeah. The quantity would have been a lot larger and been a lot more accessible, which is not always a great thing. But
that's why he went to WCW, because Vince was burying him.
is that how people in the 90s sound?
That's how people sound who have wrong opinions sound to me.
You're not wrong. But really, the story here is kind of the post match. So Razor gets the win. And Razor goes to just say, he says, "Fuck you, Road Dogg. I'm going to give you a Razor's Edge after the match." But Double J hits him with a chop block, locks into figure 4. But then former guest of the apron bump, the Portuguese man of war, Aldo Montoya, comes out and tries to make the save. It's not very successful. It kind of gets deposited pretty quickly. So sorry there, PJ. But out comes Savio Vega. Thank God.
Yes.
Finally.
The debuting Savio Vega.
Yes. It's he basically, like, I don't know if he jumps the guardrail or where he comes from.
It looks like a fan. He looked like a fan came out and tried to help Razor. And, you know, they were like, "Who is this?" And I was like, obviously it's Quang. I could tell by the body type, you know, but
Oh my god, I totally forgot about Quang. That makes it even more hilarious.
Rock out with your Quang out.
Okay, so, but I had the exact same thought because he's like, especially in this era, you have everybody. You have Aldo Montoya with his mask. You have Jarrett with his stripper outfit. Everybody has all these colors and wacky
Have we
outfits.
talked about that I figured out what the hell that was Jarrett was wearing?
Yes, I think you mentioned it on the Royal Rumble episode.
The fretboard.
I don't know if they thought that much into it. I think they just got lucky.
I think they did. Because there was five strings, like guitar. Yeah. So his chest was a big old guitar fret.
I'm surprised they didn't take advantage of that. You know, it could have been a whole taunt.
Yeah. I mean, they spent their days working hard on the go. Spend my day working hard on the go, but the hand on the clock keeps spinning too slow. 'Cause I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight. You know my... Okay.
I was blanking on the words. I had smoke coming out of my ears trying to think of it, but...
I don't know. Just ask Roadie. He's the one that sang it.
Is he? I believe it.
That was the storyline. You don't remember the storyline?
No, I don't.
The storyline was that Double J didn't actually sing the song, and it was the Roadie, and he was trying to take all the credit for it. That's why he became Double J Jesse James.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a shoot because, like, Road Dogg legitimately can sing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, whatever it takes to propel you, I guess. Whatever works.
Speaking of propel, Savio Vega. Getting back to it.
I propelled when I saw him. Something propelled. But yeah, like you said, he's just wearing like a flannel and pants. Like he looks like a fan, like you said, just jump the guardrail. And that's even how the commentary is kind of putting this over. Like, oh, should we be watching this? We need to turn this off. Someone just jumped the guardrail. But nope, it's the leader of the Los Boricuas debuting here. Right? That was his faction.
Yeah, it was. Later on. Don't make me sing that song too.
Nope. That'll be on the Patreon. But
Razer's promo afterwards going like, I didn't even recognize you, man. This guy had my back in Puerto Rico and blah blah blah. And it's like he's like putting this guy over.
Yeah, one of the biggest superstars in the Caribbean or something, you know.
Why do you sound like Art Donovan? Who's this Puerto Rican guy? Huh?
Come on. Thank God he was not on this show. That would have been bad for everybody. Who's this Japanese fella? What are we at a sushi restaurant or something?
Oh, the worst part is I'd hear him saying something like that. Machoing, Art Donovan, that's Hakushi, yeah.
What a missed opportunity. But yeah, Savio Vega is here and off to the races with that.
Great run. Amazing run.
Cuts to the crowd. Is what it is. What didn't he lose? Was he the guy? Because he lost to Mabel, right? In King of the Ring in the finals.
Well, that's to tell you the state of the WWF when the finals are Savio Vega, who just debuted a month before, versus tag team Mabel, who had just come out of Men on a Mission. Which I guess we'll get into in a little bit. But
he's a man on a mission for sure.
Definitely.
And this next, so normally I would like just ignore this kind of segment. But I have so many questions. So it cuts to the crowd where the guy, I forget what the guy's name is.
Oh, wait, no. I was on the same page with you because I wrote all of this down. His name was Barry Dudinsky.
That's a made up name.
Barry Dudinsky was selling an all over print t-shirt.
Why do they call it an all over print t-shirt?
Because it's got Bret Hart's logos all over it or whatever the hell he said.
It's like, who's confused about that?
But then the worst part about it, this reminded me of something that happened in the 90s. That does not happen today. Because I used to wonder why people were always wearing oversized shit. And it's because this shirt was only sold in one size fits all.
Well, it fits all, so.
It's close to an XL, is what he said. And then they cut to a woman who's a very petite, like, would wear a size small, and she's wearing this XL shirt. And I was like, no wonder everybody had oversized shit in the 90s. Because, one, they were only making one size fits all, and then TLC was a thing.
Yeah.
I remember. You don't remember TLC?
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Okay, we're not in that stage. We're in the what about your friend stage where Lisa Left Eye Lopez has a condom on her eye.
What?
You didn't know that? I found that out when I was an adult because I thought I was like, she had an eye patch. Come to find out, it was a fucking condom on her eye. Google that if Lisa Left Eye Lopez. She put they promoted safe sex. That's what that was.
Is that why they called her Left Eye?
Yeah, it is. Like these are all things as an adult. It just went blew my
That's
mind.
gotta, and all the chemicals in condoms, I feel like, or like the lubricant, I feel like that would get in your eye, right?
I don't use them, so I don't understand.
They're a waste of time.
Right.
One size fits all, but they're.
That's a great segue. I got to give you credit. That popped me in more ways than one.
But it's great because you mentioned the petite lady wearing the oversized shirt, but they're portraying this as a one size fit all T-shirt when literally the guy that's about to come out, Mabel, who's 600 fucking pounds. Do you think this T-shirt would have fit on Mabel?
Well, he's not all. He's special. Remember, Vince was trying to say he was unique. Okay, he was different than
Larger
the rest
than life.
right? But going back to Barry Dudinsky, I want to spend a lot of time on this guy before we get into
Christ. Enough of Barry
Mabel.
Dudinsky.
Barry Dudinsky has one of my favorite segments at SummerSlam 95 where he does the same exact thing, and they cut it out on Peacock and the network and stuff. So,
Can you reenact it for us?
we got the Shawn Michaels collection. We got the Shawn Michaels glasses. Check it out. The same gloves that Shawn Michaels wears. That's part of it. 1-800-TITAN-91. And if you act now, you'll get the Shawn Michaels t-shirt. One size fits all, blah, 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 blah. It's literally how it sounded. It's ingrained in my head. And while he's doing that, Shawn Michaels comes, he takes the glasses, and he starts looking at the t-shirt. And Barry Dudinsky starts grinning like an idiot. Like he's so, like, oh, Shawn Michaels touched me.
It's marking out.
Yeah, and I was jealous, personally. Just FYI.
So you just hold that against Barry Dudinsky to this
I do.
day?
That's why I haven't memorized so much, because I have to repeat it to my therapist so much.
Right. Well, hey, at least, you might not be able to get the gloves, but at least you can get the shorts.
Jesus. Oh, hey, hold on a second. This podcast brought to you by Manscaped.
So this is natural. I don't shave any of this. So the next
That is
match
amazing.
we have okay.
Look at the size of that drumstick.
Look at that ham hock.
Thank you for knowing what I was
Yeah. So Adam Bomb versus Mabel is the next match. King of the Ring 95 qualifying match, because who wants to see Bret or Owen Hart versus Bulldog? We want
Fuck
to see
that
this
match. We want Adam Bomb versus Mabel.
I mean, we're both members of the Bomb Squad.
Right.
So,
Can we talk about the fact that, okay, like, I remember this time period very distinctively, and I really thought they were about to push Adam Bomb because they were going with this guy. Like, think about like Lance Hoyt in TNA, like, or like mid 2000s TNA. Like, that was the same vibe I got from Adam Bomb, where they were talking about like the Hoyt Squad or whatever. Like, they were talking about the what was it, Hoyt Gang or whatever. They were talking in the same manner about Adam Bomb. And you see, I can make that reference on this podcast because the people who listen to this podcast know TNA.
Hoytomania, running wild in 2005.
See, I can make these references. I can't make them like on other podcasts.
No. Literally, we're the only people that know about Hoytomania. But
Dallas.
Big D from Dallas.
Right. Only on this podcast can you go from talking about Adam Bomb to talking about Lance Hoyt.
But speaking of Big D, so we got Mabel here, and newly heel Mabel.
Right.
I gotta say, I kind of dig heel Mabel.
I did too. I actually was gonna say that. I was gonna say that, in hindsight, like, Mabel's whole run was shit, and it gets, people talk about it and with disdain. But, like, you got to give credit to Vince for, like, pushing this guy, like a young African American guy in the mid 90s, and he took a gamble on him. Like, that, that says a lot about Vince. So. Right. I feel like a lot of people are like, "Whoa, he never had a black champion until later on." But it was like there was these moments, like with him, Ahmed Johnson and stuff. Like, you could see that, like, their stars were rising. So I don't know what happened, but they really tried here with Mabel. Because again, I thought Adam Bomb was definitely winning this match at the time.
Yeah, no, I actually love the comparison with Lance Hoyt, because that's literally what it was. Because even with the fact that Adam Bomb, he was heel for a while. Right. Now he's this baby face, and he's hyped. He's throwing footballs into the crowd, all that stuff.
Yeah, very similar vibes, like the big guy with the like crowd interaction,
the pyro with the mushroom cloud. Oh, it's actually
I actually like that.
Yeah, I want to make fun of it, but I kind of enjoy it too.
when they would like pan up with the shot and have the cloud going, I was like, that's actually pretty unique.
Yeah, and in the ring, I mean, this match is 2 minutes long, but in those 2 minutes, Mr. Bomb here, he's flying all over the place. He's slingshotting to the outside. He's going to the top rope. Like, he's working his ass off here, but
He's the smaller guy in this match, is why. Think about that. Smaller guy in this match. And that's Adam Bomb's what, like 6'9", 6'10", somewhere in that vicinity?
Yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah. But it's still able to do that spinning heel kick, which that pops me every time. I don't know what it is. It's like how his weight distributes when Mabel does that spinning heel kick.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Mabel's a lot better than people give him credit for. You know?
He is.
Yeah, so he was a hell of an athlete. You know, he's definitely. I mean, there was a reason why they were having him like face off with Yokozuna. You know, you had your two super heavyweights who could move at the Rumble. I'm talking about, but yeah,
right. But yeah, ultimately in this match, Adam Bomb goes for a crossbody. Mabel catches him and hits a world's strongest slam, basically, and that gives him the win. So Mabel moves on to the King of the Ring, which we all know he ends up winning. I've never seen that show before. I have not heard great things.
I remember being at my neighbor's house, like when it was airing, and being pissed off I couldn't watch it. But then, like in hindsight, like everybody was like, "It's one of the worst pay-per-views of all time," and I was like, "That can't be right when King of the Ring '94 exists." Mm-hmm. So you know,
King of the Ring '94. That was
Art Donovan.
That alone makes it the best pay-per-view, I think.
I know, I'm kidding, but Owen Hart won King of the Ring '94, so it was actually decent. But King of the Ring '95, you could definitely tell like the whole new generation was in effect, and they were trying, trying to build new stars. I mean, just look at this show. Look at what the dark, the buttons are coming down. Buttons are coming down, but look at the dark matches compared to the matches they were trying. So they definitely were trying to go with a new crop of superstar.
Yeah, even like Undertaker, like the fact he's been kind of an afterthought, like pretty much most of '95.
Yeah,
which is insane considering his trajectory, the rest of his career, even his career before it.
But you crazy. See, even Undertaker goes through these times too, and that's why I laugh when people online and stuff now are like, "Oh, they're burying so and so," and it's like. Yeah. What would you have thought when they were like doing this with, you know, look what they were doing with Razer, look what they were doing with The Undertaker, look what they're doing with Bret. And these are guys who are like Hall of Famers, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely a rebuilding era for the company for sure.
Right. New ice cream bars, new generation.
Yeah, it's a new generation after all. And that's exhibited in this next match. So we got the tag team titles on the line. Camp Cornette, I guess that's what cagematch.net told me their name was. I don't think they were ever referred to that.
No, they were definitely just Owen Hart and Yokozuna.
Yeah. So Owen and Yoko versus the Smoking Guns, Bart and Billy Gunn. Not a lot to this match.
I tuned out during this match. I'm not gonna lie. I like really tuned out mentally.
I absolutely did as well. I missed the finish completely because it didn't. Yeah. There was no like ebbs and flows. It kind of just happened. Another pretty short match, at least from what I paid attention to, it was pretty short. Bart goes for a cross body onto Owen on the inside, but Owen gets out of the way, and Bart goes flying to the outside, and Yokozuna, who's on the outside of the ring, hits a leg drop onto Bart Gunn, rolls him back into the ring, and Owen just pins him. So Owen, Hart, and Yokozuna retain the titles here in a barn burner for sure.
Yeah, remember this was Yoko being put with Owen Hart because he couldn't really work singles matches as much, and so this is a weird time period because it was like Owen was doing his best, but Yoko was kind of slowing down. So it's just a weird tag team in general.
Yeah, definitely slowing down, but it's like in these short bursts that Yoko has, you can tell he like the way he bumps, he's still bumping really well, amazingly, even though he's huge.
I mean, more so it's the tag team I'm referring to because it's like it's so like you don't want to see Yoko like that, you don't want to see Owen like that,
right?
And you put them together, and it's just like kind of cringe.
Right. You would think it would level out, but it really just kind of takes both guys down.
Right. Ultimately. Exactly.
And didn't really do anything for the Smoking Guns either. But the tag team division wasn't really a thing here. Never really has been a thing.
Right. I was going to say, has it
a very small window in 01, it was a thing, but otherwise it's always been an afterthought. So
there was only 3 teams that they allowed to get there, and it was during the TLC time period. Yeah. And that was about it.
Which even that's like shorter than you might think. That's like literally like Rumble to WrestleMania, and then after WrestleMania, it was just
right.
We have Edge on his singles run. We have the Hardys breaking up or
That's
doing
2 years
their singles things.
Yeah,
at the most for sure.
Yeah.
It was very stop and start, but not any better here. So Camp Cornette gets the win. Thank goodness. But then after that, we have a double dose of Bret Hart, or the second dose. Moderna. So Bret Hart versus Jerry Lawler. So
these buttons are coming down.
I only have one button left. So
I'm gonna follow suit.
I'm gonna have to start taking my pants off. If we get
They're not off already? The hell? What am I doing?
You know, they might as well be. So Bret Hart versus, we kind of covered the backstory earlier, but the way it's progressed. So we mentioned that Bret Hart twisted his knee, quote unquote, leaving the ring after his Hakushi match.
Right.
But they cut to a segment with him before the match. I believe it's Todd Pettengill interviewing him, where he's like, "Oh, I'm 100%," and he's doing like, you know, the can or whatever he's doing to show off that his knee is perfectly fine, that it was all a ruse.
Yeah, and let's wait, hold on, because we're skipping over a huge thing here that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
What the fuck was up with that Jerry Lawler mother segment?
Oh, I was going to bring that up.
No,
Yes.
well, it happens before this, where he was talking about, like, you know, here's my mother, and he brings in this like skinny supermodel.
It's his mother. Good genes.
It's just like, who cleared this? Who said this was a good segment?
That's his mommy, right?
It was just like, I get what they were trying to do, but it was just so stupid.
That's literally, talk about ahead of their time. I mean, you go on a Pornhub or something, you see some of these stepmother videos, and you're like, I don't think she's this fella's mother. That's what I say when I watch these videos. When they're like, you know, like in this case, when she's like a third his age.
But then they let her like have lines and stuff, you know. And I'm not saying anything against her, but it was more like a non-wrestling fan, obviously, and like they're having this like
Day.
Major segment, and then it's like,
gotta hammer the mothers. We covered this.
Then they cut backstage to where Bret starts talking all his stuff. Yeah,
we didn't mention how the Jerry Lawler's mother challenged Helen Hart to a match.
Yes.
I don't know if that match ever happened. Should have. Could have been a WrestleMania 12 main event, but you know.
I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say that, you know, websites that you mentioned might have the match, but anyway.
You know,
low hanging fruit. You know,
the rule of thumb: if it exists, there's a porn version of it. So that's how I live my life. So, but speaking of porn, I don't know. I was gonna say like I came during this, but that would have been like needlessly
Bret Hart
gross.
came out.
There we go. We workshopped it. But like I love kind of throughout the show. So like right after Bret Hart's match, Jerry Lawler's back at the Superstar Line room, and he's like, "I want my match now. Bret Hart's hurt. I want my match now." And they're like, "No." Yeah. And then like after the next match, he'd be in the hallways like, "Hey, all right, now it's time for me and Bret's match."
Right.
And they're like, No. And then I think was it the last match? I think the tag team match. I think he actually came to the ring and was like, "Come on, Bret Hart versus Jerry Lawler right now." And they're like, "Nope, no.
It was great.
Later in the show."
It was great how they built it.
It made sense, yeah.
And then Bret was faking it the whole time, you know, much like my ex-girlfriend. And it was just...
I'm sorry to hear that.
But, you know, Bret comes out feigning, I'm fine. And Bret does like a couple like side shuffles and does all this stuff to basically show he's fine. Jerry King Lawler's just scared out of his mind. And then I was going to say that's why I didn't have Hakushi attack his knee or anything, because Bret had to be faking it the whole time.
Right.
So he was jumping out of the ring and, I hurt my leg kind of thing. So you know, if this were real, it's like, why would Hakushi actually hurt his leg? Unless,
you know, Hakushi and Bret Hart were working together. So, you know, some may say that they're in Kahushi with the, like in cahoots.
Cut the camera. I'm done. That's it. I gotta call my agent. Like, what the hell am I booking me for this shit?
Sorry, that joke Adam bombed. But so we got the match here. As you mentioned, Jerry Lawler or Bret Hart runs in the ring. Like you said, he's kind of just side shuffling his way.
Right, he really jumps the smoking gun here, huh? I had to get it. I went in.
Oh man, that joke had a lot of Bret Hart to it. So Bret runs into the ring, and
Mabel,
chases,
right.
Yeah, Mabel. They do like a little Three Stooges moment where they like run in a circle, like Bret Hart's chasing him in the ring,
which was great. It was funny
like,
as hell.
It's the same thing like a Survivor Series with like all the doinks and dinks, like how Jerry was running away. It was like the same thing. Match is what it is. King eventually kind of gets advantage with a pile driver, but then Bret no-sells it, fighting spirit, and then pile drives Jerry with his own pile driver. Which I gotta say, these are probably two of the best pile drivers. What you got? Two of the best pile drivers in the business
that are not on Pornhub, right? Yeah, they're these pile drivers. Dude, they're amazing though. It's just like snap that they have on them, especially like Bret has an underrated pile driver. You know,
yeah,
and it's like just that little snap that he has. Like you would think he just broke a man's neck.
He just does everything great.
Owen Hart doesn't have a good pile driver though. I'll tell you that much.
No, or the best pile driver.
Actually, the most effective one. He almost killed the entire Attitude Era.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So the match is happening, and then I know what you're thinking. You're like, man, I need more Shinja in this show.
Right.
Lo and behold, Shinja's back out here as Bret's kind of mounting Jerry in the rings, punching him back and forth. Shinja comes out, distracts Bret. And can you describe what happens here?
The best spot I've ever seen in the history of professional wrestling. So Earl Hebner gets out of the ring, and he's kind of got his leg hooked underneath, over the middle rope and underneath the bottom rope.
Yeah.
And he's kind of just sitting there, and he's like admonishing Shinja. And is it that Jerry Lawler whips Bret Hart, or is it Bret Hart whips Jerry the King Lawler? I don't remember.
Yeah, I forget.
I want to say Bret Hart gets whipped and hits where Earl Hebner is, and of course Earl Hebner, what you doing, boy, goes over ass over tea kettle, and he's stuck in the ropes, and then comedy hilarity ensues, comedy gold here, because it was just Shinja's face of like trying to get him unhooked, and he's like, who? And he's like trying to like unhook him, and Earl Hebner's just stuck. This was I feel like he was like, hey, Shawn Michaels can't have the spot in Royal Rumble 95. I got to show him how you do it in the ropes.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was like a shoot. Like, was he actually stuck?
I thought it was too. I watched it back, but it definitely looked planned because it was like the way he hooked his foot. Right. It was like, that was planned. But at the same time, it was like, kudos to Earl Hebner because he took a hell of a bump on this.
Yeah.
Like, just hits the ring apron. The hardest part of the ring.
Oh man, new episodes every Wednesday, folks. So yeah, like you said, Earl Hebner's stuck in the ropes, ass over tea kettle, and
that's such a 90s.
Yeah, like
I'm a 90s fan, wrestling fan when I say ass over tea kettle.
You know where I get that from is Stone Cold. He says that all the fucking time, like on his podcast and his interviews. Like, goddamn, I'm working a match in the garden, and I go ass over tea kettle, and goddamn, I
could listen to that man talk all day. Oh, sidestep some. Oh, he's there. I just want to hear Stone Cold do commentary. It's amazing when he does the Broken Skull sessions, and he's like just narrating the match.
Bam! You're working it. You're working the headlock. Great sell. Boom.
Feats for the crowd. Oh, hell yeah.
You're doing hot, kid. But Stone Cold is not here. He's here as Bret Hart and Jerry Lawler. And so, what do you mean? Oh, yeah. So we get more Hakushi coming out in his bandana, coming out here, and gives Bret Hart, because Bret Hart is, he attacks Bret Hart, lays him out, gives him a headbutt from one corner, like a Chris Benoit flying headbutt.
A wild Pegasus, if you will, at the time.
Yes. No, well, he was in ECW as Chris Benoit. So
whatever. All right. This is WWF. Stop talking about ECW, Mark.
Stop talking about them goddamn bango halls, kid. It's gonna be Stone Cold the rest of this podcast.
What?
Okay. So
what?
Lawler takes advantage of this. So Bret Hart's laid out from these headbutts, and Lawler. Oh God, I wish I didn't say that.
Oh yeah, that was bad. That was really bad.
Yeah, that was a bad choice on my part. But Lawler,
almost as bad as the shirt choice. But go ahead.
Well, I'm slowly taking it off, so
thank you.
Sounds like a good choice to me.
Thank you.
Lawler pins Bret with a jackknife pin, very technically sound jackknife pin, and gets the win. Picks the bones that Hakushi left and Lawler gets the win over Bret Hart, but Bret clears the ring afterwards as they continue because it's Lawler, Hakushi, Shinja. They're all what a cast of characters. They're all attacking Bret Hart, and then Bret Hart fights them off, and then he gets his one size fits all shirt and calls it a day, I guess.
All over print, one size fits all. First of
all, all over print. Wait, why do they call it all over print again?
Because the design goes all over the shirt there, Kyle.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's confusing to me when I hear it. I'm like, why do they call it that?
We should ring up Barry Dodinsky right now. What's he doing?
Call the WWF Superstar line.
I bet it's disconnected.
It probably is. But yeah, any other thoughts on Hart versus Lawler?
No, I think it was a lot better of a match than it had any business being, especially being Bret's second match of the night. I do love the comedy spots, and I mean, I liked Bret feigning the injury only to reveal that he was faking it. So it was just, it was good. It was good stuff.
So as me who has never seen any of this stuff, I bid on it. I thought Bret was actually hurt, and I thought they were gonna play off of that, but bamboozled me, I guess.
You got work to you, Mark.
Oh man, better than shooting myself into a work. Wait.
Thanks, Hogan.
Time to give away a house. What we all paid for, what we all paid to see. Did you enter to win this house?
I did not. I
guess you were in New York, right?
Yeah, I was all 6 years old. I had no plans to ever live in that godforsaken Florida.
Nah, who would?
And fate as it is, I'm living in Tampa, an hour away from where this house is, actually in Orlando.
Really?
Yeah.
What could have been?
I mean, I pretty much own the house, so.
Yeah, in your house. Wait, did we ever mention that, the irony that we're doing a podcast on the show called In Your House?
Right.
But here's the thing, right? Me and you are in our houses.
We're in our houses.
In our house.
In our houses.
Talking about in your house.
No, in your house.
No, in your house.
You're in your house.
Beware of dog. Time to give away a
2.
Is that 2? Is that number 2? Oh no, there's 2 Beware of Dogs, right?
So since we're on In Your House episode, I'll just say this. I have a friend and I who huge wrestling fans. And it's an inside joke that whenever something goes wrong and we have to redo it, we'll call it a Kenny for Your Thoughts podcast, Beware of Dog 2. Because it's
No, you did that once, right?
What's that?
I think you did that once, actually.
Did I? I don't even remember.
I think you had technical issues and then redid it and called it Beware of Dog.
Right. So it's just a huge joke in my life because if anybody doesn't remember it, they had Beware of Dog. The power went out because of a storm, and they had to do it again on a Tuesday. They had to rerun some of the matches that were basically in the dark. So Beware of Dog 2. But yeah, it's not as funny as it should be. Yeah. But
hey, as long as it pops you, that's all that matters. But Todd Pettengill and Stephanie Wiand are out here. So the armored truck, I guess, has arrived and has dumped all these envelopes into this. But
the envelopes were there the whole time.
Well, that was earlier in the night. You see, kind of.
So why do they have half of them weren't secure, and then half of them were in this armored truck?
No, they took it from the armored truck and put it into this receptacle of It looks like what.
But
Paul
they
Bearer
never said it was
in.
earlier. They said it was live footage. That's where my confusion came in because there were letters already there, and then they were talking about these letters coming in. If they had said previously recorded today, maybe I'd, I just want some realism in my professional wrestling. Okay.
Look, they already spoon-fed you why an all-over T-shirt is called what it is. They can only do so much,
I think this is why Stephanie Wiand was fired.
Was she fired?
I mean, she left due to a contract dispute.
I mean, she's not there anymore, so I guess she left
eventually.
Right? Yeah, man, what could have been with Stephanie Wiand?
She went on to become Bull Nakano, so.
Oh, yeah, I never would have guessed. That when you take that face paint off, it really...
I mean, Yokozuna was playing a Japanese gentleman. Stephanie Wiand would, right?
Right, that's the issue. That's the issue, actually. That's a very good comparison.
Right, thank you.
But, so Todd Pettengill, he's like, man, how are we going to choose the envelope or the entry? How are we going to choose it? You know what we need? A rake. And then he sprints like a cartoon character to the like through
Such
the door.
slapstick a comedy right here.
Grabs 2 rakes. That's the whole. Hey, it reminds me of this. Like the what's the picture called? You know the picture with the people with the rakes.
Wilson something. Wilson Phillips.
Okay, that sounds
Hold
right.
on one more day.
Yep.
Someday somebody's gonna.
But my favorite part of this is they pick the entry. So they take the rakes, which I'm still confused on why they were necessary. So they rake up the envelopes a little bit to kind of shuffle the deck, I guess. They grab one, and they have like, I guess they're like lawyers on hand or some legal realm of people.
They've been there the whole show. You know, they've been like they've been standing around. Actually, there was one part when Razer came out. I was like, holy crap. That's how you know Razor's not a normal sized person, because he was twice as tall as everybody that was standing around the letter.
Yeah. Deceptively big.
Right.
But I guess these lawyers are here to like make sure that these entries are valid or whatever. So whether it's Todd or Stephanie, whoever picks the envelope, hands it to the guy. He looks at it for literally 0.75 seconds. He opens it. That's good. Looks good to me. Like, how do you tell? You just look at the name?
A man got paid to do that. Understand that.
These are like handwritten like entries. It's
Right.
just, again, just like needless filler all throughout the show. When you can
And again, Owen versus Bulldog was left off of this show.
goddamn Tatanka wasn't on this show. Ugh. Got heat with me when the Native American isn't on the show.
Especially they were giving away property. Come on now.
Okay. That shit. Too bad. Do you think Tatanka entered into this? He's probably pretty pissed.
To get back what he deserves, yes.
They choose the winner, and it's Matt Pompacelli. Am I pronouncing that right? Matt Pompacelli.
Matt Capitelli. Didn't he win Tough Enough?
Oh yeah, maybe it is. Maybe I misheard it. It all ties together. But they call, and because they have the whole deal with the phone out there, and they're gonna call the number on this entry. They call, it rings, and the line is busy. Is it busy, or does it like go to voicemail? Or
He dialed it wrong or some crap.
Yeah, something like that. But it's really kind of a hilarious moment, honestly. But it calls again. Matt answers, and they're all excited.
I think Matt's dad answered is what happened here.
Yeah,
Because I think he was like a kid, and then they're like, this ain't real. This ain't real. And I'm like, you can't say that during a professional wrestling show.
Is
First
this
of all,
fake?
he's like, who is this fake guy calling me? Yeah? And but yeah, they're freaking out because they're like not, they're watching it on TV and hearing that their own echoes and stuff.
Right.
So the mom's screaming in the background.
That's probably why they didn't answer the first time, because they were like watching the TV and there's like the delay and all that.
Right.
But they do the whole deal. Yeah, you want a house, and apparently they're from Nevada, and the house is in Florida. So these assholes have to move from Nevada to Florida because this kid wrote into the WWF, and I guess it's a free house. So fuck me, I guess. The pyro goes off. It's all great. All the pageantry in your house. Thoughts?
Right.
Kenny, for your thoughts?
On this?
Yeah. Do you have anything for your thoughts on this?
I was gonna say, what really, really struck me when they kept showing the house was that, I live in my first house here in Tampa, Florida, an hour away, and it looks identical to the house that I bought 6 years ago.
Yeah, it did. It looked pretty modern from like the few shots they gave of it.
Yeah, and I'll have to like put up a picture, but it's like, holy crap! It literally looks exactly like my house.
It's got that Pueblo style. Is that what it is?
Yes. I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe it's just how Florida houses are built. And obviously that means that mine needs updating. So if you could go ahead and drop me, I'll link my Patreon here, or my Cash Me, or my Pay Me, Pal Cash, all of those things.
Donate to all of them a little bit.
Please, just donate to one. I can't even read properly. Come on now.
Well, maybe the next In Your House that NXT does. Maybe they'll give away another one, and then be a full
they're getting
circle number for
rebranded.
you.
They ain't giving away any more houses now.
Oh, it'll be In Your House, but with Wale. So instead
I
of
don't
Top
want
Hat and
Wale's house.
Are you sure?
I mean, not yet.
I'm willing
Now
to
I
bet he
think
has a
about it.
pretty nice
Right,
abode.
and he's a cool guy too, so I'll even live it there with him.
Feel the power. But
A
now
lot better of a song than I realized, by the way. I was listening to it the other day. I was like, that's actually a really good song.
What, Big E song?
Yeah.
Oh, it bumps.
No, I actually, I guess, when you tie songs to memory, like I missed the New Day song for him, so like I never really liked Field of Power, and I finally listened to it, and I was like, it's a lot better song than the New Day song.
No, it's perfect for Big E too, for sure. But speaking of theme songs, we got two guys that might have some of my favorite theme songs. Well, not this version of it for Diesel at least, but we have Diesel versus Sid for the WWF title, for the WWF title. I mean, I miss Diesel's music where it's literally just a horn blaring. Like that's all it is.
I like this one.
Dude, it has like the Roseanne music.
I like this Diesel.
Yeah.
And then, of course, sticking to the Mother's Day theme, I don't know why the hell they had Diesel talk about Mother's Day, because he literally says, and it was just like, I remember watching it and going, holy crap, like, why'd you even ask this man this question? But, he's like, the way Mother's Day, everyone knows my mother passed away a couple months ago, so this is my first Mother's Day without her. And I was just like, I can't even listen to this promo because I'm just sad for the man.
I'll tell you this, though. It made Diesel kind of be genuine and more realistic, which you can argue if that's a good or a bad thing.
Yeah.
It made him kind of normalize them a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But just like in the span of a year, like a year ago, he had like the slicked back hair, the sunglasses. He was talking like Razer Ramone, basically. He had like that, hey, listen to you, bro, like that kind of voice. And now he's kind of like
Detroit thing, yeah.
Yeah. But now he's just like what people think of Kevin Nash, like how he sounds. And I
agree with that. I agree. And then at SummerSlam 95, he would cut the, you want to play Knights in Shining Armor? Well, I'm going to get medieval on you, baby. Medieval.
Diesel's one-liners.
Oh,
what was
it's great, though.
Oh, this is what it was here. In your house, I'm going to get in your face.
Is that really what he said?
Yes.
I don't even remember that.
I was
so focused on the grief that the man's legitimately talking about his mother dying. It's like I couldn't even focus on the rest of it.
I mean, I was kind of focused on like the Sid promos where it's like,
I'm so mad at you because I literally was gonna do what you're doing right now. I was waiting for the cue to be like, I am the master and ruler of the world.
Okay. Just trying to get a thumbnail for the video. All right. Man, this is breaking down very quickly. So we got the WWF title. Yeah, the master of, what is he? The ruler of the world?
The master and ruler of the world.
The master of disaster. No, wait, that's Adam Bomb. No, Adam Bomb is the creation of devastation.
That's a lot of nicknames here. A lot better than the modern day kamikaze.
There were some hits and kamikazes, but
they didn't even learn off of that one. The modern day Maharaja.
Yeah.
They didn't even learn.
That's a little better, I would say. Why am I like leaning to the? I always go to the left, but not with my camera. All right, there we go. So we got. It's a penis joke, everybody. So we got Sid here.
Phallic.
Not Psycho. Not Vicious. Just Sid.
Was he not Psycho Sid at this time?
No. So
I didn't actually listen to that.
Because he returned to the company. I guess it was before WrestleMania, like slightly before WrestleMania, and this is the whole thing. He's like. Because they mention it, they're like, "Don't call him Psycho, or he's gonna go psycho on you." So he's like, "I'm not psycho." The whole thing, right? But this match, I don't know. What did you think of this? I think the build to it was good. Like it felt like a big time match, but the match kind of had me feeling whelmed.
Yeah, I think these two have had better matches.
Yeah.
And they've definitely had better matches with other people, but. Like, I feel like they definitely should have been, like, hyping up the, like, powerbomb situation a lot more in this match, but they didn't. Yeah, so this was a weird one. I remember when it finished, I was expecting another match afterwards. Like, that's maybe how lackluster it was, because I'm like, oh, surely this isn't the main event.
Yeah.
And it was the main event.
That's how you close a show, with Diesel talking about his dead mother and... Not Psycho Sid Vicious. So,
yeah, definitely transitionary for both of them, which is weird.
Yeah, and there's an interesting storyline, kind of, which I didn't know it's how it happened. So, you had Diesel and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
and then I guess Shawn Michaels kind of turns babyface right after with because Sid is his bodyguard at WrestleMania.
Okay, yeah. So he brought Sid in to be his bodyguard, basically saying like, Kevin, like, I don't need you because I got a better bodyguard.
Right.
And then when he lost due to and I'm not kidding here, due to an involvement from a Japanese photographer, and at WrestleMania 11,
Shinja.
Yeah, the next night on Raw, Shawn Michaels blames Sid for the loss, which leads to a power bomb on Shawn Michaels, and then Kevin Nash comes running out basically to protect Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Thus turning Shawn Michaels babyface, which we know how that ends, because this is literally the start of Shawn Michaels' whole run as champion and stuff.
Boyhood dream.
Well, you're right. The boyhood dream has come true. So that's where we're left at. So Sid is, a heel still. Shawn Michaels has turned babyface, but is not on the show, right? So, weird time period. That would lead to two dudes with attitudes.
Well, that was before this.
Was
I guess
it?
maybe do they get back together? Because
They
were
on and off. They do two dudes with attitudes on and off.
Because they were the champions like before SummerSlam '94. So they were
okay. So FYI, two dudes with attitudes is only the babyface time period. Like, they didn't actually have a name per se.
Okay.
Like during the heel run. So like this was like, that's what I mean. It's like they both became
makes sense.
babyface, and they became like,
Right.
that was supposed to be a babyface name. As weird as that is.
It's pretty cool. They do the whole deal where Sid he actually gives Shawn like 3 or 4 power bombs, and it sends him on a stretcher. Like, he gets stretchered out, Shawn does.
Right.
So that's why he's not on this show, kind of still selling those injuries. And then, like you said, Diesel kind of tries to avenge Shawn, even though they've been they were facing each other. I guess there's kind of like an innate respect between them. Which again,
right? It's like watching your ex get beat up or something. You're like, no, come out. I mean, that's a weird thing to say. I shouldn't say that.
Why are you saying that like that's a thing we all go through?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a weird thing to say, but more so like, they remembered their friendship, and like Diesel's like, I'm not gonna let you like attack my friend.
Like, he's an asshole, but he's my asshole.
He's my asshole, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like
now
Brandon
you understand what I was trying to say, right? Yeah, no one attacks my asshole. That wasn't intentional. That was the best part about it.
There's the sound bite we all needed. But yeah, the match is what it is. It's two big sweaty men slapping meat for a while.
Big sweet. Big meat man slapping meat.
The plosive on that made it the best, but then I'm like you said, they both have powerbomb finishers. And Sid doesn't have the best powerbomb generally. Like, he tends to. But this match was good.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. He had a damn good powerbomb in this match.
Because like I like watched the Raws before leading up to this, and he would botch like every other one. Like, he did one to Bam Bam and like almost broke his neck. He like even like the one with Shawn that we were talking about, the first one, he kind of like threw him like behind. So I was waiting for it. I was like, man, how bad is Sid gonna botch this powerbomb? But then lo and behold, he does like a perfect one on the Diesel. So that was great. But ultimately, but Sid hits that powerbomb and just kind of, he doesn't go for the pin. He just kind of lollygags for a little bit. So.
Well, he's psycho.
No, he's not psycho.
Well, don't call him that.
All right. He's not vicious either.
Or Justice.
Man. Is there any other ones? I feel like you could just throw any word after Sid and it'd be a pretty cool name.
The Millennium Man.
Was that a real one? Was that a real name of his?
He literally was called the Millennium Man in in WCW.
Man, was that like Dungeon of Doom kind of stuff?
No, it was like 2000s. That was during that time period where that botch comes in, where he's like, "You are half the man that I am, and I have half the brain that you do." That's where that comes from.
I could listen to Sid promos all day.
It's true. It doesn't matter what he says. He's like a Scott Steiner, and what I mean by that is like he's got the marble mouth, but it's just so interesting.
Right.
You come out here, you try to make me look like a jackass, and it's like it's just interesting to hear him talk.
It's like the path from his brain to his mouth. There's something going on there that's kind of cattywampus.
And sidebar on Sid, I don't think Sid gets enough credit for being as big a star as he was in professional wrestling. Because there's a time period, I think it's Survivor Series 96. Go back and watch that. Like, my dude was over when he was doing the like, who's the man? And he's like like doing that to the crowd and stuff.
Yeah.
Like people were going batshit crazy for him.
So he was huge. He had a lot of like him and Diesel facing off against each other. Like that feels like a huge matchup. So he definitely fit in here in the main event. But ultimately, Diesel hits the jackknife onto Sid, he goes for the pin, but in comes Tatanka. So I was wrong, actually. We did get the Native American Tatanka on this show.
Right. Because it can't be in your house without Tatanka.
Why is that?
I have no idea, but we're just going to go with it.
On that, okay. So I don't even know if we mentioned, but Sid is a part of the $1 Million Corporation at this point.
Oh, I forgot about that. Again, it was just like, that's stupid. Sid didn't need the $1 Million Corporation.
No, it was really dumb. They pretty much shit-canned Bam Bam and brought in Sid to replace him, kind of. But Tatanka breaks it up, so it's a DQ finish. Ted DiBiase gets in there. It's a 3-on-1 attack on Diesel. But in comes Bam Bam to make the save. And Bam Bam's weirdly, like, super over at this point. I mean, we're fresh off of his main event WrestleMania match with LT.
I was going to say, he's a WrestleMania main eventer, technically, here.
He's
not even technically, he's a WrestleMania main eventer.
No, he, in the most literal sense, he was a main eventer in WrestleMania. So I guess he has that mainstream kind of name value now that he faced off against an all-star football player.
You do know he was like most of his career was a babyface, right? Like that's like one. I actually had to learn that later on in my adult life, but like he'd come in as a babyface in like '88 and stuff like that. So he was like over as a babyface. So believe it or not, that little time period of him being a heel with Luna Vachon, his main squeeze, and the $1 Million Corporation, that was actually a short period of him being a heel in the WWF.
Right.
So maybe just people wanted him to be baby again.
You can't boo a guy with flames tattooed to his head.
I mean, you can, but why would you want to? Especially if you had a manager named Oliver Humperdinck.
Is that true?
Yes, his manager in '88 was Oliver Humperdinck.
They just didn't try with names back then. Jesus.
Well, he was a wrestler too.
Yeah, was he good? What's your favorite Oliver Humperdinck match?
The one where I got nothing. I've never seen an Oliver Humperdinck match.
Oh God! But Humperdinck is not here, but Bam Bam is. So the show pretty much closes with Diesel and Bam Bam clearing the ring. Crowd's all into it. Diesel technically retains his title, so I guess that sends the crowd home happy. But yeah, for what it is, in your house, it's kind of it's like a B-level pay-per-view. But for what it was, we mentioned it in the beginning.
For $20.
I enjoyed the hell out of it for what it was.
Yeah. And I remember, again, for context, it was like, if you didn't have illegal cable, you ordered it properly here. Most pay-per-views were $39.95. This was available for $19.95. This was like your WWF Clash of the Champions, if you will. It was a good pay-per-view for $20. It was a really good. I didn't like the main event, but again, if I spent $20 on it in the 90s, I'd have been happy with it. And like we both alluded to, a lot better of a watch than you would think. Like on paper, you would read it and go whatever. But these were solid matches. Solid matches, all of them.
Well, also, with it being a shorter show, it didn't allow for any match to, like, drag on, really.
I agree.
So even, like, the bad stuff was pretty short. Like, the Mabel match was a squash. The tag team match was pretty short. Even the main event, I don't think was terribly long. Maybe, like, 15, 20 minutes at the most. So, yeah, an easy watch for sure. Not a lot. Well, wrestling-wise, not a lot of dead space. There was dead space in this show for sure, but
get past Stephanie Wiand and Todd Pettengill and Dick Ebersol. What the hell was his name again?
Dick
Ebersol is the president of NBC, by the way. Barry Didinsky.
There it is. Another fake name that I'm pretty sure you just made up on the spot, but
bullshit. That's his real name.
Bull Nakano. So
Stephanie Wiand.
Well, that brings the show to a close. Appreciate you making the time, Kenneth, to watch the show, hop on here, talk about some WWF. Kenny, for your thoughts, where can everybody find you, listen to you?
That's a damn good question. I don't know if we've been kicked off of anything yet. We probably should be. I'm distracted by Kyle's chest hair right now, and a tattoo of I think that's an atom bomb mushroom on this chest over there.
It is.
But you can find a Kenny for Your Thoughts on YouTube. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on I was gonna say Google Play Music, but that doesn't exist anymore. It's on YouTube Music. I think it is now.
Interesting.
And of course, Apple Podcasts. So you can find it pretty much anywhere you listen to your free streaming podcast.
Hell yeah. And you're doing a show tonight, right?
We're doing a show at 10:30, but this will air after the fact.
But go back and watch it. I'm sure it was great, right?
Yeah, go back and watch it. I'm sure, a spoiler alert, I'm definitely going to slap Brandon on that show, so go back and watch it.
I mean, that's why I'm here, to be your fluffer for that show. So
right, my fluffer nutter.
Yep. Once again, thank you to Kenny from a Kenny for Your Thoughts podcast for joining me on this episode. Always gets my nipples turgid having Kenny on. Go check out his show wherever you listen to podcasts, and is on YouTube as well. Live chat, always bumping on his show. His co-host Brandon's there, to provide, whatever Brandon provides. I'll let you be the judge of that. And do that. Or don't, I guess. I guess those are your options. Apronbump.com for all my full episodes. All my social media there as well. Be sure to check out the YouTube versions of my episodes as well. This one particularly was pretty... you're missing something if you're not watching the video version. Namely my thigh hair. But I guess that's about it. But yes, once again... Thank you guys once again for listening. Take care of yourselves. Take my doll if your vagina hurts. And yeah. I'm hard.
Yeah. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get started. Yeah, yeah.